Hey, coaches, we got a special guest with us tonight. Noah Riley is an offensive assistant coach at College of San Mateo. Noah is kind of famous. I've seen him on several different podcasts and videos. He, as a player, he actually wrote a book on breaking down the 2018 Oklahoma offense. And just talking to him before we started, he is a virtual encyclopedia of college offense right now. And I'm super interested in learning from him. He's going to touch on culture. He's going to touch on how they're doing off-season improvements at CSM and doing their preseason scouting. And then he's even done some off-season breakdowns that he's going to share with us. So, buddy, I've seen you on different podcasts and different videos, and you're super impressive. A young guy that's got it in his blood, a student of the game, and going to be a superstar. And I sure am lucky to have you on here, and I appreciate you doing this. So just teach us, man. Start with culture and just go where you want to go, because I'm just excited to hear you talk, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So I'm, like you said, I'm at CSM right now. I was actually going to play this season at Lewis and Clark, where I was playing quarterback. But our season got canceled. It was my senior year, and decided to start getting into coaching. So it was kind of a last minute thing with CSM. But it's been best place I've ever been. It's what they have going there with the culture and all that is really special, and I think it's a really special place. So, yeah, I guess just introduce myself real quick. I've always kind of known I wanted to coach my whole family. I'm from a coaching family, and I saw the impact that my uncles and my grandpa had on their players, and always wanted to do it. So that's how I decided to start doing all that stuff I did online. Try to make some connections, and then yeah.
So you want to go in the culture direction of what CSM is doing first, kind of to get us started?
Yeah. So right now we have 8 a.m. Zooms with the players every morning, and we actually have not talked football at all yet. We can call it our Built for Life program, and we'll talk just kind of our core values. So we've talked about extreme ownership, Jocko Willink. We had a presentation on that, and then breakout meetings there. So our core values, Ubuntu, which is kind of the idea of everyone's interconnected. It's a African term for that, and that's another one of our core values, and we talk through that, and we do a really good job with that stuff. We've had the players get registered to vote. We had our players, we talked about race relations. We've talked about just a bunch of different things, goal setting and how we're going to hold. I can't get too far in the details, but we have a really good way of, Nick Saban talks about once you have your goals, you got them, because now you can hold them accountable. And we have a good system for doing that. So I think.
Can you elaborate on that one? How do you hold them accountable with the goals?
That's something I don't think. Some stuff I'm not sure exactly how much coach wants out there, but we pretty much have them say the actions, create a plan for how exactly, what actions align with that goal and what actions don't align with that goal. So now we can hold them accountable to be where they want to be in life. So can't go too.
Is that a certain program you guys are using, or are you following a certain plan, or is that something your coach created himself?
Yeah, it's something our coach created himself, and he's worked a lot on it. It's pretty cool how he's done that.
How about on the race relation stuff? How interactive were the players with you? Were they how involved was this back and forth?
Very involved. We just had our players talk about what they wanted to talk about, and it was very insightful. players talking about their own experiences, how they see things. It was a really unique way, and I think it was kind of our culture where everyone feels comfortable, everyone feels like they're heard. I think that's allowed us to have that.
Was that a one-day kind of meeting, or was that over several days? You're saying you're doing this every morning. So
Yeah,
how
that
did you,
was over a couple different days.
okay,
Um,
and how did you kick that off? Did the coach start talking and then ask kids to share? How was that organized? Because that's something we're all dealing with, and we're all looking for the right way to open communication.
yeah, um, it was yeah. So we just kind of opened it up. It was one main day. We've talked about it kind of throughout the whole time though. Um, but we really just kind of coach. It was mostly just discussion. I mean, coach talked for a couple minutes, and then it mostly just whoever wanted to talk talked.
And was there a cue? I mean, well, how did he get them talking? Because sometimes they sit back and they're not sure if they want to talk. Was there a cue? How do you get them talking about it?
Yeah. Um, I'm not sure exactly which event it was, but it was after one of the murders. Um, really recently, kind of coach just said what what happened was awful, and then said said his thoughts on it, and then players just went on and said if anyone wants to talk, and we had a really good conversation.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like you got some real some really high level stuff going on.
For sure.
Anything else culture wise that could
Yeah.
help us? Those are two dang good. With the goals and the race relations are two dang good places to start. Any other ones that really jump out at you?
Yeah, I'd say it's mostly just our coaches' commitment to really helping players off the field. I mean, we have players from all different backgrounds. We got players. I mean, if you kind of follow California JUCO ball, we have guys who commute 2 hours to go to school, sacrificing a lot, and then have their own kind of things that they need help with. And probably after that meeting we have in the morning with our players, which is 20 minutes talking, 20 minutes breakout, we talk about our players after, like, okay, what does this kid need? Does this kid need access to a computer? Because we found out we had some guys doing homework on their phones because they couldn't afford a computer. Where does this guy need in classes? What does this guy need here? And we probably talk an hour about that every day, just about logistically helping people out. So I'd say what makes CSM special is the coaches take the time to know their players and take the time to invest and try to help them with everything going on in their lives off the field.
Beautiful. All right. So next topic was your off-season improvement plan. You said you do a really good job with that.
Yeah. Once again, I can't go too deep into the weeds here, but we've been talking over just all of our plays and kind of what issues we've run into and then how we're going to solve those issues. Um, so that could be, okay, let me think about something we don't do. Let's say we're an outside zone team, but I'll say we're an inside zone team, and teams are scrape exchanging and making plays doing that. Well, all right, what could we do to fix that issue? All right, do we work on that technique of the tackle going and blocking back out on the guy scrape exchanging? We'll work on so that's one of the problems of the issue. Another solution could be a play call. So your call gives where you block the show zone read and then block the end. So now you're giving the ball and that back is running himself out the play. So we just talk about a play, that one of our base plays. So ours is outside zone. And then, okay, here's all the problems we run into. And here's all the solutions that we can think of to that problem that kind of fit within what we do offensively. So that's been really cool. And it's been like I think our offensive coordinator, Coach Dovenberg, does a really good job with, I'd say he's one of the smartest people I've been around, but he starts these meetings off just hearing everyone out. And I'm the new guy, the new young guy, and then people, like, I feel like I can pitch things out there and they're getting heard, and it's pretty cool. That's just a roundtable discussion where ideas win. And he does a really good job of just kind of hearing everyone's ideas, and together as a staff, we're figuring out the solutions to everything. So we've been doing that as a staff a couple times a week. And then
And you take that play by play, like is one meeting on one play, or would it be all one game?
So we'll talk about we'll just talk about like outside zone or inside zone. Or our 4 verticals concept. Okay, what issues do we run into? What tags could we add, and how do we fix those issues?
All right, so you keep teasing me with the outside zone. I'm interested in outside zone out of 10 personnel. What tips you got for me?
I'd say if you watch anytime you're running to a non-tight end side, they're essentially pass setting on the front side there.
Hold on, you something happened to your audio there.
Okay.
All right. If you're running to the non-tight end side.
Yep. So running weak, I call it weak side zone, one back zone. If you watch the Shanahan teams, the intent of that is really to cut it back. So you watch, I'd say if you watch the Rams, they're really almost pass setting on the front side there, and that intent to really hit backside. You talk bend, bang, bounce is kind of the running back's read, and working your doubles. Once again, I'm sorry, I can't go too much into what we do, but are you guys
influenced by the Rams though? If I'm watching Rams tape, I'm getting a good idea how to do that. So I'm just going to watch them running weak, outside zone weak is what I'd be looking for.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything you got basically pass setting on play side, bend, bang, bounce. Anything else that you can share?
Are you guys? Do you guys RPO a lot of the stuff you're doing there? Or?
We have not RPO'd off of outside zone. We try to RPO off of we're a big counter team, guard tackle counter team, but we're outside zone is kind of our second play that we've never gotten really good at. How about that?
Yeah, I think if you watch the Chiefs do all of it out of the gun, I think it's kind of an interesting deal where if you're running out of under center or pistol, that backseating the ball further outside than when you're in the gun.
We're from the gun.
Okay, yeah. So you get a little less flow to it, just because that back is now getting it over the center instead of over the guard. So you're not getting as much flow from the defense. But you watch the Chiefs with some of their lock RPO stuff. They actually lock the backside and pass pro the tackle, and then the guards and pass protection essentially if there's a 3 technique. And then they're working their backside double slant concepts or whatever RPO they have tagged back there. So if you're a gun 10 personnel outside zone team, I'd say Chiefs are a good team to watch some of the stuff they do.
All right. Sure. Now, are you telling me that the key to running outside zone is to make sure you're running the RPOs with it?
I think there's different teams that do it different ways. You watch Oregon back in the day, they had they midline read it, so they'd read it down D tackle. and have a lot of success with that. I mean, there's Oklahoma. A lot of times they weren't RPOing and they had some success doing it. So I think it depends on what your identity is and what you're trying to do with it. But there's a lot of different ways teams have had success with that.
Okay, so Chiefs are the one to look for.
Yeah, I'd say they're definitely one of the teams I've got a lot out of studying when it comes
All
to
right.
them.
You said you could share some of your preseason scouting ideas. You want to talk
Yeah,
about that a little bit?
yeah. So right now we're just looking at our key in-season opponents and looking at, okay, what are their tendencies, what formations get them in what are their tendencies, and kind of working off that right now is a lot of what we're doing. And then, like, let's say they're in a certain they get into a certain look against this formation or in this situation, we can say, I've been able to pull up a lot of film of, okay, here's the Chiefs against this exact look running this play that fits within our system. Here's a game plan specific thing we can do based on their rules. It's been the thing where we haven't been able to, I mean, junior college, it's guys are only there for 2 years. So a lot of the team you don't know who's coming back. There's not a whole lot of, it's a different team every year. So the player stuff, you can't really scout very well. But when it comes to just what are their defensive coordinators' rules and how they call the game, and how are they? Yeah, just the specifics of what they do. We can get into that.
Yeah, this is probably the first year off season because it's off season. Extended the longest off season ever. Probably the first time we've done that with our biggest opponents, our biggest nemesis, and it really gave us insight that we hadn't had before. So I'm with you as far as, and we kept it mainly the scheme, not the personnel, like you're talking about. So I'm on your back on that one. You just feel like you know them a lot better than when you're just spending 5 days on them. All right. So let's finish up with your time. Tell us what's the you've been doing all these different studies with Shanahan and OU and all these studies you've been doing. What's your most what was your most exciting discovery? What's the one that's got your pee hot the most that you can share with us?
Yeah, I'd say the teams I've studied teams. I've studied Oklahoma, Georgia Southern, like the Shanahan teams, just the Belichick, and all those different offenses. I mean, they're completely different in how they do everything in their looks. But there's a couple just common themes you can apply to whatever you run, and then it's also just good. Like now, like I said with the off-season scout, okay, we're getting this. I'll try to think of a specific that's not so like, oh, this is a play where NFL team, let's say they run when the offense runs a crosser and they're in single high coverage, so man coverage, man free, the safety takes a crosser and the corner becomes the middle third player. So let's say we don't run into this, but let's say one of the teams we play does that. I'd be able to say, okay, here's the Packers versus Vikings 2 weeks ago against that exact look, ran a fake cross corner and then got a wide open player doing that. So I could pull up film. So I've been just looking through different NFL teams and seeing that. And then I guess some of the themes I've seen, like touching back to that, all the best teams I've studied adapt to their players really well. You look at LSU, they didn't do anything special offensively. Nothing everyone else doesn't run, but they put their players in a position where, okay, they have the biggest O-line in the country, or the third biggest O-line in the country. They're going to run inside zone and duo, and they're not going to run outside zone because that's not who they are. You watch Bill Belichick's teams, and they've done a really good job of Wes Walker. 80% of his catches came on 5 routes, because Belichick does a good job of putting him in the formation where he's always going to run the route that he's good at. So I'd say, and then I think another kind of theme that I've seen teams do, like all the teams I've studied that I've tried to model after or think have done well, they always have that illusion of complexity where they keep it simple for their players. You know, you look at Oklahoma, they're running GT counter all game, but they're running it out of a bunch of different formations, a bunch of different looks, a bunch of different wrinkles, but it's still easy for their players. They can get the same angles and matchups they want, but they get the angles and matchups they want. They make it hard for the defense, so they have to make a bunch of different checks with formations, but they keep it simple for their guys because it's down, kick out, pull through. They're keeping it simple for their players, running GT counter all game.
Well, that's awesome insight, brother. I know you living a life up in California. Where at in California are you?
So I'm in Palo Alto right now.
Hit your audio's going low again.
Good now?
No.
How about now?
Yeah, perfect.
There we go. But yeah, I grew up in Palo Alto, so I'm living at home right now, coaching at CSM. But my dad is actually moving, so I'm going to be finding another place to stay. And
He's getting off the payroll, man. He's excited. He's moving out of town.
Yeah.
So San Mateo is, give us, I'm from North Carolina. Give me a city that I'm going to recognize.
San Francisco.
All right, there you go. Now you're talking.
Bay Area.
All right. Well, buddy, I sure do appreciate you doing this. And, obviously you're a dang student of the game and very interested in trying to see into your mind and just excited to hear how you're attacking it, with your off-season studies and obviously, I'm a culture guy, so I love to hear how different people attack how they're going to build their culture. So, man, I sure do appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on.
I'm gonna pick your brain later because you obviously you are on the cutting edge just because of how much work you put into it, and I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
No, thank you.